Today, we're going to be having a chat about the to-do list, and I want to make sure that you're not making these daily to-do list mistakes. The daily to-do list is something that's been around for a long time, and it may be something that you feel like you've already mastered. However, in my 15 years of coaching business people and working with teams, I can tell you I see a lot of people making some very common mistakes. Now, myself, I'm of a D-type personality. Now, if you don't understand disc profiling, D is a very task-oriented, driven, dominant person. And the way that I run my days with to-do lists, the days of me writing out a to-do list manually are gone. I used to do that and I'd cross things off my to-do list as I got them done. I now use software, and I'll talk about some of the software that I use that helps me manage my to-do list in a much more productive way, and maybe it'll help you as well. But first, I want to help you get a real clear understanding of what should be on your to-do list and when you should be preparing a daily to-do list. So let's start there. So first of all, I like to break down my tasks into three areas. So I'm not confusing, so probably let's not even say tasks. Let's call them projects, because this is the mistake I think people make. I think people put projects or ideas on their to-do list to remind them to do something about it. What should be on a to-do list should just be tasks. So I break things up into three different areas. First of all is my goals of what I'd like to achieve, and then the projects that'll help me achieve those goals. So when I talk about a goal, it might be that I want to recruit somebody. Okay, so that's the big overarching goal that I'm trying to achieve. So let's say my goal is to recruit a business development manager. Okay, that's the overarching goal. That is not a task. That is the overarching goal. Then I create a project out of that. Now I use a Microsoft OneNote as my tool for managing projects, and I'll create a tab for that project. And then what I can do is think about all the tasks that have to go into that project. So inside Microsoft OneNote, I will sit down and I'll just brainstorm with myself or with somebody else, and I'll go, okay, well, if I'm going to recruit a business development manager, what are all the tasks that I need to do? I don't worry about what order they're going to be in. I don't worry about importance at this stage. All I'm doing is thinking about all the tasks. So in that example, I've got to do I might have to write a job description. I might have to write a job ad. I'll have to think about, start dates, training, equipment that I'm going to require for that person. And the list could go on and on and on. But that's where I start. I start by creating all of these subtasks, if you like, or sub-projects. And then I can create tasks inside of those. So first of all is like the overarching goal or project, which is hire a business development manager. Second thing I do then is I break it down into, okay, what are the individual things that I've got to get done? And then I can create tasks within those. And they're the things that end up on my to-do list. Now, a couple of rules for you. If something is going to take longer than half an hour or an hour, it probably shouldn't be on a to-do list. It's probably a project that should be broken down into smaller tasks. Now, the reason I say that is because you don't want to have things on your to-do list that you can't get done and cross off in a sort of one sitting, if you like. You want things that you can sit down and say, okay, what have I got to get done, and just finish it. Now, for example, writing a job description for some people might take longer and require more thought than just a 30-minute sit down and write a job description. So maybe what you might do is you might break that up into 3 or 4 tasks. So task 1 might be job description outline. Task 2 might be set KPIs for business development role. Task 3 might be think about remuneration packages and, what this person's going to, or commission structure. Stage 4 might be call to action. So you may break it down into several different tasks. So inside your bigger project, you've got mini project, and then you've got your tasks, and they go onto your daily to-do list. Now, when I populate my to-do list 2 different ways during the week. The first thing I do is typically on a Sunday night or early Monday morning, I will sit down and I will go through my projects and I go, okay, out of all my projects, what are the important things that I need to make sure I get done this week? So they're critical tasks or critical projects. So it could be things like if, I knew that I was had a goal of recruiting a business development manager in the next month, then critical this week I completed, some of that task, like get the ad placed or find a recruitment agency or come up with the KPIs, whatever. But if I knew that was a critical activity for this week, then I would make sure that I put that on my critical list. Okay, and this is step 1 of creating my daily to-dos. So I set up a critical list of all the projects that have to be worked on that week. And then I start picking out, okay, what tasks from those critical projects have got to be completed. And then I can start to think about what days I'm going to get those done. Now, sometimes that'll be determined based on who I might be meeting with that week. So maybe I can't complete a task until I've had a meeting with somebody, or it could be determined on, if you have a default diary like I do, where I set up days for certain things. So, for example, Mondays is meeting day, Tuesday and Wednesday are sales days and podcasting days. Thursday is my marketing day, and Friday is my team training and overflow day. So, it may depend on whether or not you have specific days for specific things as to when you get those tasks done. But by breaking them down and understanding which tasks, I can then start to work out what days I'm going to do them. Now, I use a couple of different applications for doing my tasks. Typically, I will use a product called Wunderlist, which I know if you've listened to my other podcasts, you would have heard me talk about. Wunderlist is it's an application that I've downloaded from the App Store on my iPhone. It synchronizes with my MacBook, and I find it a great way for me to be able to break down the tasks into projects and then put the tasks within those projects, set due dates, set reminders, and it works really, really well. The only downside is it does not work with Siri. And so sometimes I will think of a task or an idea as I'm driving along in the car or in a position where I can't type it into Wunderlist, and I'll have to tell Siri to remind me, and then I'll put it into Wunderlist later. But I use Wunderlist to manage all of my tasks. It's also a tool that you can share with other team members if you want to collaborate on tasks and projects as well. And so I think, if you can really master the to-do list and get disciplined in how you manage it, how you manage getting your tasks done, how you manage choosing which tasks to prioritize and put where, you will definitely become more efficient. And a result of becoming more efficient is you'll feel better, you'll get more done, you'll make more money, and life will be so much more amazing. So the to-do list is certainly not dead. It's how you manage it that matters the most. Now, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, head over to dbtpodcast.com and join the Daily Business Tips Tribe. We'd love to have you in the tribe. That way you never miss out an episode or a special offer that we make out to tribe members only. And I'm going to finish today's episode with a quote, as I normally do. And today's quote is by David Ogilvy, marketer extraordinaire. And David says this: "The consumer isn't a moron, it's your wife." Until tomorrow, have a profitable day.